Hello everyone, I'm Rob D. Welcome to another Copic Markers Speedpaint. This is Jack from the Jack and Daxter series. I did this as a commission for my last Kickstarter. 5x7 piece of art here. Basically what I like to do is start off with grays, create a little value, do all my shadows. I use a W1 for the body and a W3 to outline the character. In the shadows I'm using a BV00. That's a very light purple just to offset the coloration, give a little tint so it's not lifeless and gritty and ugly. And I'll usually work a little bit of blues into any metal area. Now his skin is this a little bit more of a cartoonier skin, so I'm really only using 2 or 3 colors here. And for the base skin I'm using like an E02, which is a flesh pink or something like that, fruit pink, or a YR00. Very, very light. And then in the shadow I'm tinting that with an R20, a pink color. So once I allow that to dry, what I'll do is I'll add a little bit more of that BV00, the purple, into his actual shadow tones. And it just gives it a really cool, kind of classic Capcom style, Street Fighter-esque skin tone coloration. Nice and poppy there. His hair was really fun to do. If you notice, instead of darkening the green with a darker green, blue is a really, really great color you can use in there. I use like a teal colored blue. Color is that? That's a BG49. I'm using that, and the blue will just blend right into that green and give you a darker green, but it won't be muddy or too dark. A little bit of color theory can go a long way if you know how colors blend, or if you have a really good understanding of that. All of his browns aren't straight brown. After I do the value, I'll tint it with a little bit of this putty color, which is a YG91. And then I'll offset that with a bit more of the purples, a little bit of the yellow, and then I'll throw brown on top of that once it dries. If you just allow the Copics to dry for about, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes at a time, they'll shift. The colors will shift, and then you can go and add another little glaze down. It's a term I picked up doing watercolor. And my process with Copics is a lot like I use watercolor. Basically, it's starting light and then going dark and dark and dark. Even though I do a little bit of a value at first, it's not a ton. I do a lot of the darks as I go along, and I do a lot of the darks in color. You'll see, like in his clothing, I'm using more saturated blues to darken it up, and then purples. Little transparencies go a long way. So if you want to create a really graphic visual piece, use hard blacks. Graphic being like the Walking Dead comics, the black and white style stuff. A lot of the Vertigo stuff. But if you want to create something that has a little bit more of a rendered approach, not really realistic, but I like to call it natural, then don't go pure black. Add variations of blue, yellow. I think the old trick that I learned from the Hildebrandt brothers back at a Comic-Con once was if something's outside during the day, use a cooler color shadow, and if something's outside at the night, use a warmer shadow. And I always treat these sketches like they're out during the day, so I just use cool colors into the shadows. Lastly, around the 337 mark, which is right now, you will see me apply white ink to the piece. That is calligraphy ink, Winsor Newton calligraphy ink, right in the bottle. I'm just dipping the brush right into the bottle. Nothing else to it. It's a lot easier for me than, say, using acrylic or gouache because it won't warp the paper. And I use that to pop out all the little lines that I have on there, which I really like. It keeps the piece looking like it was drawn, which I'm cool with. And I get to draw extra lines with the white on top of that. If you have any questions or comments or praise or whatever, hit me up at rob@sketchcraft. That's the name of the podcast.com. I really appreciate y'all hanging out here with me for this piece, and I look forward to doing it again. Check you later.